Welcome, everyone. I'm super excited to be here with you today. When I first was looking into organizing this activity, Ezra told me that you'd be lucky to get 5 people during IAP, and then got 23 people expressing an interest, which was, I guess, shows to what extent this is a hot topic and people are really interested to learn more about how to apply it in different spheres, whether it's city design or other areas. So I saw like a lot of rich and diverse lived experiences of people wanting to sign up and being in this room. Some are Spurs fellows, other are international city officials. Some are working on main streets already at the MIT Museum, and others are doing research on Gen AI and city design. So that's very interesting. And just some housekeeping, there's some name tags. Just write your names, put them just to facilitate the workshop session and communicating. I know some of you, but not all of you, so that would be good. Okay, so for those that don't know me, my name is Fadi Haddad, and I'm from Montreal, Canada. And I'm here on a 9-month visiting research appointment in Senseable City under the supervision of Fabio Duarte. And I'm looking at how policymakers can harness big data to support the resilience of main streets. And my experience in MIT since September has been nothing short of transformative, especially from someone coming from government as a policymaker. There's ways of doing things that are very regimented, and it feels like here people are exploring so many different ideas. So if you told me a few months ago I was going to be giving a talk on DALL-E and city design, I would have said you're crazy. So it's happening. So thank you for being here. And I'd like to also express how grateful I am to Fulbright Canada, who has been supporting my Main Street research, looking at how big data can support main streets in Canada and the US, along with the support of my federal regional agency based in Montreal. Some fun facts about myself. I consider myself a policy hacker, and I'm here partly from winning a 2020 MIT Policy Hackathon with 3 complete strangers during COVID. I also like to build community, and I managed to convince my policy and research unit to be color coordinated for Public Service Pride Week this summer. I'm a big fan of rainbow colors, as people sometimes notice here. And so this was something, this IAP started accidentally. Originally, I was going to look at, can we use big data to support main streets? And then it seemed like, in terms of interest and potential, it felt like it was already used. So when in October 2023, OpenAI released DALL-E 3, I just decided to tinker with it, and I asked what would an ideal main street look like, and this was my first prompt. And I was impressed to see how, not only does it accurately reflect a main street, but it shows the dynamics that enhance that environment. So if you have a bit of background in city design or the ground floor, like some of you, things that attract pedestrians and people to these spaces include things like street furniture, you have the facade complexity of the store, you have greenery, it's pedestrian-oriented streets. So showing an ideal main street, how it looks like, it seemed like it was on point. And when I came to do research, I didn't know that they considered main streets a wicked problem in the policy literature because of the different dimensions, the complex dimensions it involves, anywhere from zoning to the size of the city, to the presence of chain stores, the ratio between chain stores and small retail. All these factors play and affect whether a main street is doing well or not. But at the same time, what was really surprising, because I thought I was going to start here and just start doing research on, okay, here are the main streets and this is what's happening. But I would find out that there's no consistent definition of what a main street is. In Canada, they think it's between 5,000 to 25,000. Here in the US, there's Main Street America that defines the boundaries of main streets, with communities because they have programs. It doesn't mean it's not a main street if it's not included, but it's just different. And in the UK, they just consider the absolute city center main street. So there's no consistent definition on what a main street is, and in policy, if you can't define a problem, you can't fix it. So this is a major issue. And so we can toy around with this idea and get the best and curious minds here at MIT to provide new insights on this so-called wicked problem, but also doing it in a fun way with DALL-E, where we'd combine art, technology, and city design. Let's be like those visionaries who predicted FaceTime or automatic vacuum cleaners 100 years ahead of their time. So yeah, art, technology, and city design in this IAP, they're meant to be foundational in the design as we explore the different ideas. Starting with art, individuals have single-handedly reshaped their communities for the better. Tyree Goyton in Detroit, and he started the Heidelberg Project, an outdoor art environment that began in the 80s and took off in a community that was not doing well at all. He started painting houses, and slowly people started noticing, and now it became a huge Detroit landmark, to the point where people from all over the world come and visit. So art has a potential to transform how we envision our main streets. When it comes to technology and the so-called golden era of generative AI, what opportunities does accessible technology like DALL-E allow us to do? In the book Urban Play, Fabio and Ricardo, who are also from Senseable City, highlighted how technology can be transformative in urban communities because it allows for more public engagement and interaction. So with DALL-E, we do have that capacity now to explore and play and see to what extent technology can provide us with new insights and exploring new territories. And finally, when it comes to city design, I like this quote by New York City's chief city planner, who advocated for reimagining some of the New York spaces, like the High Line, that used to be a derelict railway, and now it's been transformed into a park, or like an attraction that attracts 8 million visitors annually. And in her TED Talk, she spoke about how public space is one of the most important reasons why you stay in the city. And I find this quote so meaningful. You know, a successful city is like a fabulous party. People stay because they're having a great time. And that's important if you work in economic development, because a lot of times we're thinking, oh, if we create jobs, people are going to go there. But it's not the case. And so when it comes to main streets, we're talking about the decline of retail. And that's happening with the rise of e-commerce. People are now ordering everything from their handheld phones. There's changing consumer habits. Those are having an impact because we don't need as many retail space as we used to. So that's reshaping the heart of our cities and our towns. And some are referring to it as a retail apocalypse. And I don't think it's a problem we should be ignoring, because when manufacturing started to decline in the 60s, that's when we started to see inner city deprivation, and policy failures caused people to feel disgruntled, and it fueled polarization and populism in many traditionally manufacturing regions. And whether it's in the Rust Belt and Brexit support for manufacturing UK regions, and even Canada's truck convoy protests that paralyzed Ottawa, the capital, for a few weeks. And it's important because if we're losing these public spaces, we're also losing the ability to connect with other people. And there's a direct link between that and increased polarization. Here in the US, I would discover that in May last year, the US Surgeon General indicated that loneliness and isolation have been declared an epidemic where technology was named as a key factor. And to address this, one solution is to design built environments that promote social connections, and main streets are foundational to that. And I also want to say that you don't have to be a Main Street expert to participate and engage in these activities and even find solutions that no one has yet to think of. I'm an engineer turned policymaker, and I'm not a city design expert, nor am I an urban planner or a computer scientist. I'm a mining engineer. But like many of us all here, I have experienced the life-changing power of main streets, especially in Montreal, in the gay village. Being in the closet in my teenage years, it's where, going there, I discovered my identity and found my community. It's also where I met my life partner, who I've been with for 15 years. So it's really, that place made me the person I was always meant to be, and I'm very grateful for that. And how this is going to work. So the reason why we wanted to have 3 sessions is to gradually build up your capacity to not only understand main streets, but how to interact with DALL-E in different ways. So right now, it's more like a brainstorming activity where we're going to talk about what Main Street is and how we relate to it based on our experiences. The second session next week, we're actually going to go nearby Mass Avenue and just take pictures and use them in the prompts, see what we get. And then the final session, we might do a design thinking or visioning exercise based on what we learned in session 1 and session 2. How do we envision these places being? And the objective for me is a cohort at the cutting edge of using DALL-E or visual generative AI tools to reimagine Main Street spaces. And just the agenda for today, we're gonna do a small icebreaker activity, get to know each other. I think that's important. There's many diverse and exciting experiences people have here. We also have a special guest who's gonna talk more about visual generative AI. Then we're gonna have 3 team activities. First, defining together what a main street is and coming up with our own definition, which will be foundational to then doing the other work, which is how do we conceive them, what do we see in them, and then we're gonna do an activity where we're gonna bring our concepts to life using DALL-E prompts.